So lots of questions have come up about the kettlebell swing compared to the weight over bar, or that they're different enough, and maybe there's no carryover, too confusing for the body. But I found it's very beneficial. Just need to separate things, just like anything else, like an Olympic lift. The snatches, people think of that. It's potentially a really good carryover. Anything with a vertical hip, we call this the hip hinge, that's driving through the hips, is a good thing. Just like a deadlift too. A deadlift can have a certain carryover to a certain point, certain extent, but there's plenty of guys that with huge deadlifts that are not that good at weight over bar. So what does that mean? You know, it's another tool, it's another option to help with that technique and really get, bottom line, we're getting the hip hinge going. There's enough of a difference between the two. Just gonna show you a couple quick swings with the double overhand. We can get into some single arm swings, but I found a lot of people have trouble with that position and really getting that down. So we'll keep it simple with the kettlebell swing. The kettlebell snatch can be a nice option as well, especially for people who are not gonna do, if you're not gonna do Olympic lifts or the plyometric jump training kind of stuff too, it's a nice, safe way to get involved and get some of that stimulus going to your body in the right, getting the basic kind of movement pattern that we want to do too. So with the kettlebell swing, we're just really hinging back at the hips, and we're actually, if anything, think about projecting the kettlebell out. So if I was going to take the kettlebell and release it up here, it would actually just float out a lot too. It's definitely going up as well, but it's just kind of that product of that natural arc, that swing motion. So here's a couple swings, crushing the handle, sit back on our heels. We don't want the knees to go forward at all. Looking about 10 feet ahead or a little more, eyes out, head neutral here. Crush that handle, hike back. So that's a basic kettlebell swing. Arms are long, same idea as the weight over bar as well. Force production through the hips is the bottom line. It can have so many other good things that it's going to be beneficial for as well. Let's get a weight over bar just a moment. So we're going to take that hinge back and think about sliding our hand down a wall as long as we can, basically. And then that weight, you have to be really patient with it as we load and kind of scoop the hips. Again, it's a nice, actually there's a low point and high point to this event too, just like with all the other events, but it's very very small little room for air, subtle to see basically. You're not going to see that as well. We're going to reach back, slide down. It's going to come between our feet, and then you just kind of get that natural heavy feeling to the weight too. And we're going to scoop, lift, and stand up tall with it. We don't want to overarch our back, or what a lot of people will do, kind of roll into it. And that's no good either. We want to apply force to the ground through our heels. That's another good point with the compared to, or the carryover with the kettlebell swing too. The hinge, load in the hamstrings, basically like this jumping position. We're applying force off of our heels as long as we can. We're doing it with the caber, and even with the sheath as well, we're applying force first through our heels. That's where we're getting our power from. So now we're gonna try to scoop this thing down. Same position, hike it back naturally, and scoop down. See, this looks very different than the kettlebell swing, right? Hopefully. Yeah. Same but different.